Good evening, SportsZone. How's everybody doing out there tonight? I am Mike Aglioloro. I am your host for this is Sports Zone. Coming to you live like we do each and every week here via the I-95 Sports and Entertainment Radio Network. We got a good show for you tonight. We'll be joined by both Dave Hastings and Erich in a matter of moments here. And normally I would say we have a lot to talk about, but let's be honest, we're about to enter that period of the sports year. No football, the end of the basketball season. About 2 months left in the basketball regular season. Same thing with hockey. We have a couple of weeks until pitchers and catchers report spring training for Major League Baseball. So I wouldn't say we have a lot in terms of quantity to talk about, but we definitely have some things we need to talk about tonight because we had Super Bowl 53 on Sunday where the Patriots won their sixth championship as a franchise, the sixth championship in the last 18 years. So we have that, and they beat the Los Angeles. I almost said St. Louis Rams. Los Angeles Rams to do it. It was a defensive battle for the first three quarters, and the Patriots were able to come through in that fourth quarter. And unfortunately, Jared Goff was exposed to look like the youngster that he still is by a superior game plan, superior coaching staff led by Bill Belichick and defensive coordinator Brian Flores, who is now the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Jared Goff just could not overcome what they were doing, and he made some very bad mistakes on his part. I thought he looked very inaccurate and sloppy with his throws for the vast majority of the game there. So we'll get into all of that, and of course, what more can you say about Tom Brady, Julian Edelman, Bill Belichick, and the whole New England Patriots organization. But as much as you hate them, we have seen something that I don't think will ever be duplicated, at least in the NFL, given the way the salary cap, free agency, and everything is structured. You have a franchise that is not only able to sustain a large degree of success over almost 20 years, but to win 6 championships in that time. And they do it with the same head coach and the same quarterback. The rest of the cast of characters has changed drastically from that first championship that they won for the 2001 season and won it in 2002 to now. It has changed drastically, but the two things that have stayed constant, Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and you want to throw a third in, you got Robert Kraft. I just don't think you will ever see this again in our lifetime. And as much as everybody hates the Patriots, everybody's sick of the Patriots, what they have and what we've witnessed is special and should be savored, because once it's gone, I don't think we're ever going to see it again. We've seen franchises that have large periods of sustained success, but by that success, we mean multiple playoff appearances. We mean multiple seasons finishing over 500. We don't necessarily mean multiple championships. We definitely don't mean 6 championships. You look at teams like the Steelers, the only other franchise in the NFL that has won 6 championships. They had the 4 championships they had in the 70s, and then they had 2 in the 2000s. You had the periods in the 80s and the 90s. They were still competitive in the 90s. They had some good years, but nowhere close to championship level football, even though they did make one Super Bowl in the 90s. Nothing close to what the Patriots have done. But with that, we are going to welcome Dave Hastings to the program. Dave, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right, Mike. I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. So we're going to be joined by Erich in a few minutes here. I believe he's running just a little late. But let's get started, and we're going to talk about Super Bowl 53. So let's get your thoughts, initial thoughts on Super Bowl 53
Um,
there. Right.
yeah, I mean, look, all in all, I mean, we've talked about this before. I do love a good defensive game, but you need a couple big plays mixed in there.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it doesn't lead to points, at least something to keep you a little more intrigued. So I'm not going to sit here and call the game boring. I'm not going to go that far, but for the two teams that played each other, I was definitely a little disappointed with the overall performance
Mm-hmm.
of the two teams. Not the defensive side, obviously, because both defenses really they showed up and they showed out. I mean, they really played great football, both teams, and respect is deserved. But I mean, the Super Bowl more than anything, and any diehard football fan knows really. Your conference championship games tend to be better than the Super Bowl on most situations, and that is 100% what we got this year. And they lose a little pizzazz since they were already 2 weeks ago. But on all the game, I was a little bored. There's really no other way for me to say it. But like I said, I do respect a good defensive game, and those defenses showed up and they played hard and they played good. And to me, the biggest thing that I took out of everything that I heard after the game was the fact that what they were doing on defense for the Patriots is they sent two different plays in, and then as soon as they knew the mic cut out, if the Rams were still getting set, New England was changing the defensive play, so that way Goff had to figure it out instead of having McVay in his ear to help him. And you saw the struggles of Goff. He didn't play that well. He made some good throws, but he also missed some throws. And, that touchdown, or what should have been touchdown, that got broken up by McCourty on, no disrespect, not taking anything away from him. He made an amazing defensive play. But if Goff throws that ball as soon as he gets open, that's a touchdown. You can't get to it. It's impossible. But instead, he saw him late, had to throw it up there late, gave McCourty time to get over, and also set it up where he had to catch it at the back end of the end zone instead of the front. And I think to me, when it comes down to if you were going to pick one play that really hurt the Rams, I'd say it was that one more than anything else.
Now, that was the play right before the interception, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but I saw that play. I felt like he got away with a pass interference on that because it looked to me like he was holding his left arm while the ball was coming down.
Oh, no. Different play. I know what play you're talking about. I think that's a judgment call. I personally think you let him play. It's a Super Bowl. I don't have a problem with the no call on that. I'm talking about the play where it might not even have been Cooks, but whoever it was wide open in the end zone.
No, I think you're right on it being Cooks, actually.
And McCourty was on the far outside the numbers and made it all the way to the middle of the field. And when you watch the replay of that play, I mean, he had him for starting at like the 12-yard line. He was wide open. Like he could have hit him for a touchdown for at least a good second or two, and he caught him late and gave McCourty time to get over and make a play on the ball. So I know what play you're talking about, but like I said, I'm not 100% sure if it was Cooks, but that to me was the biggest, moment for the Rams where they would have kept themselves right in it. And
I mean, in response to that, I'll just say what I had said before you came on. I like Jared Goff a whole lot. I think you saw his inexperience come out in this game, and you definitely saw the inexperience of Sean McVay as a head coach. And to their credit, they both kind of admitted it after the game because, like you mentioned, there were a lot of times I thought Goff was wildly inaccurate during a whole bunch of that game. And he couldn't make the adjustments, couldn't make the throws when he had to. And a situation like what you're talking about kind of shows that, 24 years old, so I hope he's able to recover for it, but he just was not ready to go up against a team like the Patriots, a head coach like Belichick, and to be on the opposite sideline of a guy like Brady during a game like this, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, he missed some opportunities, especially once they lost Patrick Chung. I mean, that's a big injury for that Patriots defense, and they weren't able to exploit it. I mean, Gurley once again was basically a no-show. Their running game as a whole was basically a no-show. I really think it was a game plan for New England's defense where they committed to stopping the run and confusing Goff on 3rd and longs. But if you think about the amount of times that the Patriots were on the Rams side of the 50 and put up no points, I mean, that shows you how good the Rams defense played. There was only one red zone play the entire game for both teams combined. So, I mean, this was a true defensive battle. And if you're a real football fan, you respect it and you enjoy it. But I enjoy that when it's the regular season. I mean, this is a Super Bowl. There's 2 weeks of hype building up to this game. Every freaking possible angle is broken down. You have 2 weeks to prep for your opponent. To only have 16 total points scored in the game just really, I don't know. It's disappointing. I think the NFL themselves were probably a little disappointed in it because they know the Super Bowl is really where they catch and grab those fair weather fans. But I mean, all in all, and I mean, something me and you as Met fans can relate to. Obviously, this impacts you a little bit more than me.
Oh boy, let's hear this.
If you were born, if you were born in 2000 or late, or between 2000, I think 2004, right? That was when the Red Sox won the World Series. That was 04 when they finally broke the curse.
Yes, it was.
All right, so if you were born between 2000 and 2004. You've seen your city in Boston win more championships than the Mets, the Jets, the Nets, the Knicks, the Devils, the Rangers, the Islanders, every local team in the New York area, if you just don't include the Giants and the Yankees.
No, you can actually include the Yankees in that because they would have only won one in that stretch because they've only won one since the year they won in 2000 and they've only won in 2009. So you can include the Yankees in that.
All right, so we'll say the Yankees. Sure, we'll include the Yankees and the Giants. You still watched more championships won in your city than all of those teams combined.
Yeah, that's right, because the Red Sox have won 4, and if you put the Giants and Yankees in, those are the only teams that have won World Series, so it's 4-3. You're right on that.
Yeah, and then you still have the Celtics who have won 2.
The Patriots.
Patriots with 5.
6. They won all 6 in this century.
No.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, they did. Oh,
yes.
Crap. All right, yeah. So Patriots with 6. Boston with the Red Sox with whatever, the Celtics with 2. It's just one of those things where even though there's no weight in the game for me when it comes down to the New York-Boston rivalry, even I find that freaking depressing. I mean, that is just sad.
Well, you can actually expand that a little bit and include our lifetimes because I was born in 1983. I don't have any.
Like, this is over 45 years. I'm not talking in our lifetime. I'm talking in the last 45 years, so since the Jets won their Super Bowl.
No. You said from 2000 to 2004. The ones won that.
No, I'm saying if you were born between 2000 and 2004 in the Boston area.
Yeah,
you've seen your city win more titles than have been won in 45 years in this area.
I got you, but technically you can expand that to 1983 when I was born, and your point is still valid because the city of Boston would have outperformed the city of New York in that time. But it's perfect timing. It's Erich Tressler is here. David, Erich? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. How you guys doing?
We're doing good. Dave, I want you to say what you just said again with Erich on the phone here because I'd like to get his thoughts on that.
In the last 45 years, the New York tri-state area sports teams have won less championships than the Boston sports teams since 2000. So 45 years of this area and only 18 years of that Boston's area. And they've got us beating championships. I may not root for many local teams, but even I find that ridiculously depressing.
Yeah, I'm trying.
That's pretty depressing and a pretty, I would want to fact check that because, I mean, in the last 45 years, Giants do have,
Giants have
a bunch of Super Bowls. The Yankees do have about 5 world championships. Even the Rangers have a win in there. Like, so there's been a lot of New York winning. The Mets have won in the last 45 years. So, I mean, it's not like New York's devoid of winning, though.
Well, if you go here, I just did the math in my head. So we're talking 45 years, so that would be 1975. The Yankees would have 7 championships in that time because they won in 77 and 78. So you got the 7 Yankees, you got the 4 Giants, you got the 1 Mets. So that right there that's 12. And then the Red Sox have 4, the Patriots have 6, and the Celtics have – do the Celtics have 1 or 2?
I thought they only won 1 with the big 3.
Okay, so it's more. So, okay, if you go since 1975, New York has 12 and Boston has 11. But all 11 for the Red Sox have come after the year 2000, which I think was the point Dave was trying to make. Because if we go from the year 2000 on, it's 11-2. No,
Okay.
it's 11-3 actually. Excuse me. Because the Giants have 2 and the Yankees have 1.
All right, good stat to know.
Let's get your thoughts on the Super Bowl because that's what we're talking about right now. What were your thoughts?
I mean, I'll be honest. I don't care what the people out there, so what the experts say or whatnot. You can tell me this is a defensive game all you want, but when I watch a team punt 8 straight possessions to open a game, I'm sorry. That is a dull football game. That is a boring football game. And even in defensive games, you can have exciting plays. There wasn't anything that was exciting going on. That was the problem. It was just there wasn't a ton of sacks. There wasn't a ton of action. It was just a flat Super Bowl. It felt flat. It was flat. And, I just don't think the hype was there to see Belichick and Brady again there. So – well, that's my thoughts on it.
Well, that I can agree with you on that because it did seem like in the 2 weeks leading up, like we had said it on the show. I know you guys did too. Nobody really seemed excited for the fact that they could win their 6th, that everyone was kind of hoping that the Rams would show up in a big way. And unfortunately, like me and David kind of said before you came on, you saw the inexperience of Sean McVay and Jared Goff here in this situation. So I want to put this question to you guys because it's very hard in the NFL to repeat. It's very hard to get back to a Super Bowl, which makes what the Patriots have done over the last 18 years that much more impressive. You see what Jared Goff and Sean McVay did. They are both young enough that it is conceivable they can get back if they don't let this really stick to them the way that we saw it stick to Cam Newton a few years ago. Odds you think the Rams get back to the Super Bowl in the next 5 years? And Eric, I'll let you go first.
I think pretty good. They're overall a solid team. They have a solid defense. If they can keep a core group of them there together, I think they have a really good chance in the next 5 years to get back to at least one more.
Okay. Dave, what do you say?
I agree. I think they have a really good chance to get back, and I think really the biggest thing for them is you're capitalizing on Goff's rookie contract, which they have another year to do that with, and then that's really where the question lies. I mean, these teams with young, talented quarterbacks have to take advantage of the low salary cap hit while they can, and then sooner or later you figure out what you're going to do and hope your guy's good enough to carry you when you don't have the money to put in other places. So that to me is really I think they definitely have the opportunity and potential to get back. I also think that they're a team where their window is small until you see how they handle Goff's contract and how all that unfolds, because that's really the biggest question mark is what unfolds after they sign him. But I think they definitely have good odds to get back.
Yeah, and I think the advantage they have in regards to what you said about Goff's rookie contract, they did sign Brandon Cooks and Todd Gurley and Aaron Donald to long-term contracts before this past season. So when you have those 3 guys under contract, And they're also going to get Cooper Kupp back for next season. And I think we can agree that offense definitely lost a little bit with Kupp not being there. Because for all intents and purposes, he was the safety net. And Josh Reynolds was good. He's on the Super Bowl. He ain't no Cooper Kupp. So I think they got that going for him. I'm going to agree with you guys. I think they can definitely make it back in the next 5 years. So we got that. We're going to fight through the windstorm here. And if anybody doesn't have that, well, I'll tell you one thing I'd like to bring up before we go up and put the ball here. Dave, one thing we haven't talked about in the last couple of weeks, and I want to bring it up right here. We were both adamant that it seemed like the Cowboys needed to make a change at their offensive coordinator position. They did let Scott Linehan go a few weeks ago. They have replaced him with Kellen Moore, the quarterback who's been their quarterback's coach for the last couple of years. What were your thoughts when you heard that one?
I mean, at first I was like, really, we're sticking with somebody that's part of Linehan's quote-unquote coaching tree, but you know, when it's all said and done, bottom line is that you don't know. He's never had an opportunity to call plays. He's never had the opportunity to really help develop a game plan. So you really don't know what he's going to be. And, you know, for all you know, he's going to crash and burn and be the worst decision they made all offseason, or he, you know, comes out and Dallas's offense is top 5, and before you know it, they're talking about him for a head coaching job next year. Like, there's nothing in anything that you have to go off of for his career to say that he's going to be bad or good, other than the fact that he just wasn't a good quarterback when he played. But that doesn't really say too much. I mean, if you look at all the big name coaches, most of them never even played after college. So I'm not going to, you know, get too hyped up on that or too down on it. I just think it's one of those things that it's a wait and see. I kind of would have liked them to go out and think outside the box, but what kind of attaches to this and made me feel better about it is that Dallas is no longer, or supposedly no longer, going to give Garrett a contract extension. Mm-hmm. So that tells me they said, all right, well, we'll let you keep Kellen Moore and have him be your offense coordinator, and this is your prove it year, whether we're going to give you an extension or not give you an extension. And I'm okay with that. That doesn't bother me, because at this point, I think Dallas is one of the best young rosters in the league, and unless, you know, they're not doing something with that type of talent, then you got to point fingers at coaches as well. So I don't know what to say. I know that, you know, somebody posted back in the day when Gruden used to do his quarterback camp with guys coming out, the whole report he gave after meeting with Kellen Moore was that he thinks he has the potential to be an okay quarterback in the league, but he thinks his real place was as a coach. So, you know, maybe that's the fact. Maybe he's really not a player, but he's a coach. He gets the X's and O's. It's just his ability to go out and execute them is different. So it's a wait and see. I'm not pissed about it. I'm not happy about it. It's definitely just a wait and see what it turns into.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on that. Lord knows we've seen a number of guys who were not great as NFL players be better as NFL coaches. We've seen that a whole bunch of times, so I can agree with you on that. I feel like the floor for him is going to be same stuff with a different guy at the helm. I feel like that is the floor for him. I don't think he's going to do a worse job than Linehan did, but I really would have liked to have seen them go outside the organization for the replacement. That would have been nice. Eric, do you have any thoughts on that before we move on?
Not necessarily. I mean, they say it's Garrett's prove it year. He's not getting the extension early. Come on, it's all a show. Everybody knows giving Garrett the extension, you know, it's just not happening before the season. It's not happening before the end of next season, but it's coming. He's Jerry Jones's, you know, sidekick. I wonder at this point, and till they make that change, none of this really matters to me.
See, I don't necessarily agree with that at all. I feel like maybe at first that's the way it was, but we've talked before. Garrett is a better coach than he gets credit for. I'm not saying he's a great coach, but at this point, he's been coached this is going to be his 10th season, I believe, and they haven't made it out of the second round once. At some point, I don't care how tight you are with the owner, at some point, if you don't deliver the results, the owner ain't keeping you. Now, has he got Has he got a longer leash than others?
Marvin Lewis stay with the Bengals. Tell that to
Wait a minute. That's a totally different situation because when Lewis got to the Bengals were a freaking joke. They were what the Cleveland Browns are right now when Marvin Lewis got there. So he got a little more of a leash than he probably should have, just because he restored that organization to some degree of, order, really. He established that team. That team had been nothing for 20 years previous. So I think it's a different situation there.
Well, look, I don't think Eric's wrong with saying that Garrett is Jerry Jones's guy. I don't think there's anything. I don't think there's any falsitude to that statement at all. What I will say is, to me, at this point, Jerry doesn't want to make changes because A, he loves Garrett, and B, you saw it this year. I mean, at 3-5, and a road game at Philly, and a Thursday night game against the Redskins, and a Thursday night game against the Saints, and all of a sudden they finish the year 10-6 and win the division. Like, that team plays for him. I don't think there's any denying that. I think the difference is he is such a clear. I hate to say these words, but he kind of reminds me of Jeff Fisher, where and
that's not fair.
Kind of elaborate what I mean by that is Jeff Fisher had enough success with getting things to work based off his mindset and his style, that when he went somewhere else or when he got his extensions and he tried to keep doing it and it stopped working, instead of adjusting and adapting to the league, he stayed firm in his beliefs on how to coach and how to go about things, and we saw what that led to. And I think Garrett's very similar in those ways where, he kind of got it from Parcells. These guys would stand pat in what they believe is the right coaching style and the right way to go win a championship, and they don't adjust to the trends and the flow of the league and the direction that it goes, and it hurts them in the long run. I think that's why the potential of him being let go is a lot higher after this coming season than it's ever been before because of that. But I don't think Eric's wrong at all by saying that he's Jerry's guy, and Jerry, I can guarantee it, Jerry doesn't want to let him go, but I do believe Jerry would be willing to if they have another what would be considered a disappointing year.
And I wasn't necessarily disagreeing with that point on Eric's point. All I was saying, and Dave, I know you've agreed with me in the past on this, Garrett's better than he's gotten credit for as a head coach. Though I agree with that Jeff Fisher comparison. I think that's pretty good. And the last thing I'll say on this, to go to your point, the players play for him. I think we've gotten to the point where we're really wondering, just because they play for him, is he getting the most out of them than someone else would? I think that's fair to wonder at this point. But let's move on here. Unless you guys got anything else football related you'd like to talk about. Eric, you got anything else?
Football related? No.
Okay. Dave?
Well, the Eagles told Nick Foles they were going to exercise the option on him for this year. He just came back and told them that he's going to forfeit $2 million and deny the option. So the only way the Eagles can keep Nick Foles is to franchise tag him for like $25 million. So that's really about it. And I mean, if we're being honest, as the NFL offseason rolls, we'll probably talk more Nick Foles than I ever care to. So I don't need to dive into it. Just figured I'd throw that little bit of news out there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they do decide to franchise him, because all he's going to be in Philadelphia is backup unless Wentz gets hurt again. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Let's move to basketball real quick, because we got the trade deadline on Thursday. We talked last week about Anthony Davis saying he wanted to be traded. And then on Thursday of this past week, I was stunned to find out that, so according to their timeline, and obviously this took place a little longer than that, Kristaps Porzingis has a meeting with the Knicks front office early Thursday where he says he's unhappy with the team's direction, and then 3-4 hours later, they trade Kristaps Porzingis, Tim Hardaway Jr., Trey Burke, and one other player who I'm forgetting about. Oh, Courtney Lee. There you go. To the Dallas Mavericks for DeAndre Jordan, Wesley Matthews, and 2 first-round picks. Now,
you're also forgetting Dennis Smith Jr.
I am forgetting Dennis Smith Jr. Yes, thank you very much. Probably as key of a piece in that deal as the first-round pick. So thank you for reminding me of that.
He's the biggest piece of that puzzle.
Well, I think you're right for now, but I think the 2 first-round picks, when you look at how many first-round picks the Knicks gave away in a 20-year period, I think those first-round picks probably going to be just as important as Dennis Smith Jr.
They have 5 years, 7 first-rounders in the next 5 years. So
yeah. So it's very interesting. And Eric, being, I am a guy who used to be a Knicks fan by my own admission. I know you're probably more of a Knicks fan than I am at this point. When you heard about this deal, what was your initial reaction? Because I texted you and you never texted me back about it.
You know me. I like to keep some things fresh for the show. And sure. Actually, I was one of the few when it first came out, and I actually heard the details of it. And then I heard they were getting picks back as well. I didn't mind the trade. They dumped a lot of bad salary. They were able to dump Courtney Lee's $15 million. They were able to dump Tim Hardaway's money. Mm-hmm. They're able to get rid of an unhappy Porzingis who, let's be honest, if he's unhappy, he's not going to be a good advocate for bringing guys in. So you're going to get a top pick. You know, if you can get the number 1 pick and get a Zion Williamson, and now you've got a Dennis Smith Jr., and now you've got $71 million in cap space and a young Knox that could probably do something too down the line. You're starting to look like a franchise now. And if Kyrie's serious about coming here, I think what really needs to happen in order to get the whole thing to fit for the Knicks is they need to get Kyrie here. They need 1 superstar here, and then KD will come. I don't think KD's coming unless they get 2 max guys, and they got to be good max guys. And I think if it could be a quick turnaround if it all fell in according to plan. But let's be honest, nothing ever goes according to plan. So we'll see how it ends up turning out. But my initial reaction is I liked what they got back: 2 first-round picks, expiring contracts in Wesley Matthews and DeAndre Jordan. And I'm a fan of the move. I'm okay with moving Porzingis to Dallas, where I think he'll be happier playing with Doncic. And out west, even Porzingis and Doncic aren't good enough to beat the Golden State Warriors as currently constituted. So I don't think he's going out there to win yet either. So I'm all right with the trade.
Well, I think that duo could be really good if Porzingis comes back and he's Porzingis what he was before the injury. I'll tell you this, like when I first saw the trade, I had very mixed feelings, but my initial reaction was if Porzingis is unhappy here, and I kind of side with you on this, I thought it was a great job on the Knicks' part to nip this whole thing in the bud rather than having a long, drawn-out saga with this, because we saw the sagas that happened with Carmelo Anthony and Phil Jackson. And for a franchise that had to deal with all that crap very recently, for them to be able to pull the trigger on this as quickly as they did, I thought that was a credit to both Perry and Mills. I'm not a fan of Mills, but Perry has shown that I think you got a pretty good general manager on your hands here. So I like that they did that. My biggest thing, in regards to the cap space, we saw when the Knicks tried to clear cap space out. They've done this a couple times over the last 7-8 years. LeBron James, the one being the main one. They say, oh, we're going to go after these guys. We're going to go after these guys. And then the guys they want to go after don't even fart in their direction. So there's that. They have to be able to spend the money wisely because you only got room for 2 max contracts. If I'm the Knicks, it's either Durant or Kawhi Leonard. That's the first guy I'm going after, one of those 2. If you get one of those 2, you can get whoever the hell you want after that. You can get Kyrie Irving. You can get Kemba Walker. You can even get Eric Bledsoe after that. I'd be okay with. Those are the 2 guys you got to build the team around. Durant,
yeah, but that's
Kawhi
what
Leonard.
I'm telling you is not going to happen, though. Is KD is not coming to New York unless he knows there's another superstar coming. He's not coming first. You got to get the other piece first. You have to get – I'm telling you, I think Kyrie's the only name. I don't think Kemba Walker moves the needle enough to get KD there.
Well, here's why I'm going to disagree with you a little bit there. this is not a Kevin Durant who is insecure on where his legacy is. This is a guy who's already got his 3 championships. So whereas there's a time I might have agreed with you on that, I think that now he's won his championships. He's heard the people say, "Oh, you only did this so you can get the championships." I think he's more inclined to go to a Knick team that has that potential and let them build around him now than he would have been 3 or 4 years ago. So while you may be right, I think there's a chance that Durant would be okay being the first building block on a team that has what is probably going to be a top 3 overall pick, Dennis Smith Jr., and will still have cap space left for a second star. I think he would be more inclined to come and be the first piece now than he would have been 3 years ago. Let's get Dave's opinion on this, though, before I go back to you, Eric. Dave, what were your thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I do have to side more with Eric than you, Mike. I do apologize, but in regards
That's okay. That seems to be a recurring theme over the last few weeks, and I'm okay with it.
Well, when it comes down to the Knicks and Durant and Kyrie and Kawhi and all that, I think you're right. I think Eric's more closer. His needle's a little closer to correct when it comes down to needing to get somebody there before Durant would be willing to go there. Now, I do agree with your point that it's a lot different than a couple years ago where he can kind of get over that feeling of, well, at least I have rings now, so whatever happens next, I'll always be able to say that. But I think it's one of those things where he wants to see the potential already laid out before he agrees to go and try to help take it to the next level. And that includes getting that max contract signed already. So I think it's more likely to be that. I don't know how it unfolds. I still don't know if anybody really wants to go play for the Knicks just due to the lack of confidence in the organization as a whole. But you just need one guy, and you're golden. And that one guy could be Zion Williams. You don't know. I mean, it could be him that makes other players like, oh, crap, I want to go play with the young dude. Like you could see that happening. But I think the biggest thing is when it's all said and done is getting that one guy before you have the potential to actually get the second best player in the league with Kevin Durant.
If the Knicks can get Kyrie and they get the first pick and can get Williamson, KD's a wrap. He would definitely come in. From everything I've read, heard, seen, it seems like Kyrie is more likely to be that first piece to fall because apparently, from everything I've heard, he really, for whatever reason, wants to come to New York. I keep hearing that. I'm not going to believe it till I see it because I've heard it before. But I'm hearing for KD that, for Kyrie, that it's looking like New York's the place. So if that domino falls and they get that high draft pick and they get either an RJ Barrett or they get a Zion Williamson, and Zion Williamson's really the guy that everybody wants, I think it's a wrap. I think they can put together a solid squad, but I think that things never go according to plan, and this just seems too easy to put together.
Yeah,
well, especially for the Knicks, and not Mike, not to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Like you said, Eric. Bottom line is this has the potential to have everything fall back into place, and in a matter of a year or two, the Knicks are fighting for an Eastern Conference Finals appearance compared to fighting for the top 5 draft pick. So it has that potential, but you until the first domino falls, I don't need to be a Knicks fan to know how you guys feel because it's just how it is. Like unless one thing goes right, everything's going to go wrong. And it could be like that. You never freaking know, but it's going to be interesting. And the trade itself, just to throw my 2 cents in on the trade, I just got to say, I think in the long run, it's the right move to make. If Porzingis isn't happy there, like you guys said, pointless to keep him there. He's not going to sign long-term anyway. And you're not going to have somebody that advocates for other big names to come there and play with him. And he goes to Dallas, which is a team in a city that's embraced their European players. So you add him, with the mentorship of Dirk, you get to include having, what's his name, who's just a freak rookie.
Donachik.
You really look at that team and realize that there is a lot of potential there in the long term. Yeah, this year, next year. No, they don't match up with Golden State. It is what it is. Hell, they don't match up with Houston good enough to win a 7-game series if Houston's healthy. So I think it's the right move, and I think it's a good move for both teams because Dallas has a young enough core that sacrificing 2 first-round picks isn't the end-all, be-all for what that franchise is trying to achieve.
Well, let me ask you guys this. I want to flip this around a little bit, talking about the trade. What if that same package, instead of going for Porzingis, went just for AD? What if they sent Dennis Smith Jr., 2 first-round picks, DeAndre Jordan, and Wesley Matthews? Is that better than anything the Lakers are offering? Because I think it is. 2 first-round picks, some young talent and expiring contracts. I think that's better than anything the Lakers are offering right now.
Well, the latest proposal the Lakers had included just about all of their young players. It had Ball, it had Kuzma, it had the center, it had Ingram, and it had cap relief. I think it had Beasley and Rajon Rondo in that. And it had
but you're taking on their projects. What are you doing that for? Why? I don't want Lonzo Ball on my team. I don't want his dad's mouth coming and running around my organization.
Wait a minute.
And Kyle Kuzma's probably the best piece of the bunch, and maybe him and Brandon Ingram, but I would package them together with a shit ton of picks. And if I were the Lakers, I'd be trying to acquire the Knicks first-round pick or somebody else that's going to have a high draft pick to get in to send to them. I don't think sending them a bunch of young players that are like good role players and players, they're not players that are getting you anywhere. They're just guys that fill a roster.
If I may, has Smith really done so much in his year and a half to show that he's better than any of those prospects? Because I'll take Kuzma over Smith.
In my opinion, I think he's got better upside. I've seen great games out of him. I've seen triple-doubles out of him. Sure, he's had some injury issues, and I know that he didn't get along for whatever reason with the Mavs front office, so I know there was tension there. But he had a pretty decent rookie year. And
I'd take Kuzma over him right now. I really would. I would take Kuzma by himself over Dennis Smith Jr. right now, without even blinking.
Yeah, Eric, I would take the Lakers trade over the Knicks. I'll
be honest. I don't want it. I don't want Lonzo Ball. I don't want Rajon Rondo.
Well, I don't blame you for that. I don't blame you for that.
But I mean, that's just throwing more in the trade doesn't make it better. Better pieces make it better.
Yeah, but it also sounds like, we're talking about Anthony Davis here, right? It also sounds It sounds like the Pelicans really don't want to trade him right now. It sounds like they're waiting for the Celtics to come in because the Lakers offered all of that, and then you hear that the Pelicans want 4 first-round draft picks and at least 2 young players and cap relief out. So it's like even if the Mavericks did offer that to Davis, I don't think they would have taken that to begin with.
I bet you they might have. I think that a different deal from another team could have gotten done. I just think there's so much hype around what LeBron wants and Magic Johnson wants out there in L.A., and they're trying to will this thing into existence. And I think a lot of small market teams don't want it to happen. And I don't know. I just don't see it as a good landing spot for AD right now.
I just love how the Pelicans are handling it. I mean, when the Lakers sent their first offer, they didn't even respond.
Yeah.
Like, I love how the Pelicans are handling. Like, look, from an outside perspective looking in, I'd rather you get as much as you possibly can for a guy that you know will not stay with you. Because the bottom line is you're just basically killing time until he's off your team and you suck again. Yeah. So why not try to get pieces in there and draft picks and whatever else you can get to try and at least make yourself respectable and, have pieces to maybe build off of or trade away to get other things, whatever it might be. Like, I personally wouldn't do it if I ran the Pelicans. But with that said, I think it's freaking hysterical because, like Eric said, the bottom line is they're a small market team. It's New Orleans. It's in basketball. That's not really what New Orleans, Louisiana thinks about. They're, I think we'll all agree they are much more a football state with LSU and the Saints. But either way, so they're a small market team compared to the Lakers. On top of that, you're like, you know what, LeBron, you've always gotten what you wanted. Screw you. And then it's like, Magic, you've gotten what you've wanted for the majority of your life. So whatever. Like, I love how the Pelicans are doing. It seems just like bitter ownership and general managers just like, nah, you're the Lakers and you're LeBron and Magic, and we're not going to help you get better and try to win a championship. You can figure it out down the road. So I love that part of this.
Yeah, it does make for some interesting talk. Absolutely. I agree with you on that one. So, all right, kind of wrapping up this whole thing. So we got 2 days to go until the trading deadline. I guess first question to ask, do we think Anthony Davis gets traded before Thursday? Dave? No? Eric?
No, I don't think so. I think they're going to wait till after the season.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. It definitely does not look like it's happening. And final question on this. Do we think any big names are going to move between now and then? Like the Grizzlies are trying to trade Marc Gasol and, Paul Gasol and, no, it's Marc Gasol and Conley. They're trying to trade them. There was a rumor trade with the Raptors going on that would include Kyle Lowry and Jonas Valanciunas. Any big names we think move between now and Thursday? Or
not big enough to move the needle in the league. Still think it's top heavy.
Dave?
I mean, I don't know if any big enough names get traded that it, like Eric said, moves the needle for championship competition. But I do think you see, maybe the Nets try to make a move to kind of increase their talent. I mean, God, they're like, I think they're like 27-7 in their last 34 games or something like that. They're playing some of the best basketball right now, at least when it comes to win and loss in the league. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them try to make a move just to try and make the playoffs. Because, I mean, all in all, when you look at the East, yeah, you got Boston, you got Toronto, you got Philly, you got Milwaukee. But all four of those teams show holes. All four of those teams have shown throughout the year that they can lose games that they should win. So maybe the Nets, try to make a move to get somebody to kind of add to that team and try to make a push. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Chicago, Phoenix, New York try to move anybody off of their team, because honestly, I do think this year is a race for one of those top 2 picks to get one of those kids from Duke. And I those are the things that come to my mind when I see things possibly happening during the trade deadline.
It would be very interesting if the Knicks are able to move DeAndre Jordan and or Wesley Matthews and maybe get another first-round pick for the two of them. They were able to do that. It would be very good for both of them. So it is 9:54 right now. I know Dave got to get out of here. I think this might be a good time to wrap up anyway. Slow sports week anyway. So let's get some final thoughts. I want to thank both of you guys for being here tonight. Dave Hastings, any final words?
I mean, shout out to I think they announced the Hall of Fame class, or the final Hall of Fame finalists.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, shout out to them, but, there'll be time to talk about them when we get to August, so not overly concerned about diving into anything on that. And other than that, man, always a pleasure being on. Eric, wedding, another week closer, bro. Looking forward to it. I'll get that RSVP to you soon. And
sounds good.
Yeah.
I already told him I probably wasn't sending it out, but I am definitely coming to that. I am definitely there for that. All right, man. Thanks a lot, there.
All right, guys.
Just so we're all clear, pitchers and catchers real soon. Was it 8 days?
Something like that. It's within the next 2 weeks. I know that. And still,
8 days. We're less than 10 days. I know that. I think it's 8.
And still no.
I'm telling you, you got to get it. Watch a couple games early in the season. I guarantee you won't be as bored as you probably would be with a normal baseball game. It's exciting baseball. Get into it. Let's see where Harper and Machado go, too. They're still out there, so.
Yeah. It should be a fun season, and we're this close to pitchers and catchers. Still no home for Machado and Harper. Eric, where do you think they're ending up, man?
I don't know. I just don't think they're getting the years they want. They're trying to hold out for it. The Phillies will probably end up overpaying one of them. And I've been saying it all along. I would back the money truck up, but I'm backing it up for a shorter contract. I would overpay for a shorter contract.
I would overpay each of them, and I've been saying this for the last week or so now. I would come in with ridiculous offers at this point. I would give them 150 for 4 years, $37.5 million a year for 4 years. That's what I would do. I would overpay them for the best 4 years of their career, because right now they're 26 years old. That'll take them till they're 30. I would overpay them right now for that.
Well, I don't think you're wrong, but that's still a ridiculous amount of money. But I definitely see your point on that. So, yeah, it would be interesting. And the Padres are trying to get into it, too. They had a meeting with Bryce Harper a few days ago. So, God only knows where this is going to end up. So, hey, man, Eric Tressler, any final words?
No, I mean, that was it. Just pitchers and catchers and golf. I don't know if Dave's still on, but I mean, Tiger Woods, y'all. He's back in action. Golf's exciting again. I'll start watching.
Let's go Tiger, baby.
Yeah, I think golf is as boring to me as baseball is to Dave, so I'm good on that.
Tiger makes it exciting. It's a different watch when Tiger's playing. I'm telling you, it's a weird thing to say that one guy can make a difference in golf. Tiger actually makes a difference in golf.
Mike, let me ask you real quick. When was the last time you actually genuinely sat down and gave watching golf a chance?
Well, I was trying to watch that Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson thing, but I only caught the last. I literally only caught the last hole because I got home from work too late. But I was gonna watch that actually.
No, I mean an actual like the U.S. Open or like an actual event. When was the last time you actually genuinely sat down and tried to watch it?
Well, did I ever tell you guys the story of when I was in college? I was supposed to watch the Masters for the sports show we were doing in college, and it was the year that Tiger Woods made that ridiculous putt that was on all the commercials, and I forgot to watch it, and the guys that I did the show with were ripping it on me for it on the show for the rest of the semester. So I can probably say never.
All right. It's gotten a hell of a lot better from back in the day because now with the camera and the HD and blah, 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 like now instead of sitting there watching some guy stare at his shot for a half an hour, now it's you watch the guy take a shot, you watch it land, they go to the next guy. So they'll play shots that already happened but you didn't see yet. Like they keep it moving. So it makes it a little more entertaining. And if you've ever played the game, that's where it gets you. I mean, because I just don't know how they do it. It literally is just inconceivable to me. Like, I just don't. Like, I get how they hit a baseball. I get how they throw a baseball. I know it's hard as hell. Maybe the hardest thing to do in sports is being able to hit a baseball. I get that. No disrespect to it. But what they do in golf is just, if you've ever played the game, is just something that is just, it's unexplainable because you just don't get how they do it. It's just mind-blowing.
Well,
Dave, let me throw a question.
Hey, we got less than a minute left, guys. So
real quick. I just wanted to say, Dave, when was the last time you sat down and watched an actual baseball game?
This past year's playoffs.
Well, that's good. All right. Okay.
It
so
still bores the hell out of me, but it's playoffs. I got to at least watch a little.
Well, I'm gonna try. I will think about trying at some point this summer. So I'll give you that. But thank you guys once again for being here. Thank you everybody for listening. I am Mike Aglioloro. We will see y'all next week.